Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 20 career mode here for our second season in MotoGP. And are we on the 14th round of the season now? I think so. I could be wrong. Might be the 13th actually, but it's Misano regardless. So we need to advance forward to that point. I'm just going to check that I've not accidentally... Yeah, forgot to do anything, I haven't, so we'll advance forward then. That takes us to Misano. So obviously this is a circuit where we won last season by quite a margin. Marquez got in front of us right at the beginning. We had quite a good battle with him. I think we went side by side through Curve Verne. We might have done it twice, actually. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think we did. And then in the end, I did come out on top. I got past him and absolutely pulled away from him. So we know we've got some good pace here. But we need to have a look at the Moto3 front then, because on the riders, on the team development, that is now done, so we can get something else. So actually, if we look at our riders' performances first, I don't know why I've not been looking at this, but we can actually see which areas they need to improve instead of just guessing myself, which would make much more sense. We can also see their results this whole season as well. Seems a little bit weird that Jackson's DNF in the Netherlands is actually higher up than all of our other results. I don't know why that is. I thought it's supposed to go like if you were first or something, it went up top and then sort of down. I suppose she was the first person to finish the race, in a way, but yeah, not the way you would like. So if we have a look at their stats then, the race performance for both of them, Jackson's not even halfway through her potential yet, so Jackson still has a long way to go, whereas Hernandez is actually quite close to his max potential anyway. Both of their affinities with Moto3 are higher than their affinities with Moto2, but that's probably because they've been doing this whole season. And also, Hernandez is actually quite a bit older than Jackson, which I didn't realise. I thought Jackson was probably older than Hernandez, purely because she was a better rider, but actually, it's just she's better and an up-and-comer. They're both now B rank. I think Jackson used to be B, and I think Hernandez was C+, but now they're B+ and B, so they are actually quite decent riders now. Their reliability is fairly high, to be fair. They're both over 50, both over halfway through their potential for that. Performance in qualifying. Jackson's is now better. That's why Jackson is now above Hernandez. I don't know if she was worse to start with, but she has got a higher one, so that's probably why she's been out qualifying him lately. Her race performance is significantly higher, her reliability is a little higher, and their bike development is virtually the same, so that's why they tend to do the same sort of bike development. Hernandez actually is a pole position genius, so that's probably why he got that pole position back in Assen. I knew he had something to do with qualifying, but there we go. He's a pole position genius, so he can get first position on occasion. I suppose that's probably why then. So wet weather expert. So he's supposed to be quite good in the wet, which is why he was so fast in the Kimi ring then before he fell off. I thought he was supposed to be good in the wet, whereas Jackson is better on the home track. So I can't remember what she did in Silverstone. I can't remember it being like particularly great, where I would say that she was better at the home track than she was at any of the others. Although I think Hernandez did struggle quite a bit in that one. And Test Rider, where again I wouldn't really say she's been that great at the research and development so far. But anyway then, let's have a look at the team development. So what can we do? So the reliability is pretty good anyway, so we may as well leave that. However, this one takes 12 weeks, so I think maybe we've got to start having a look at which ones are going to be quite quick. So 4 weeks here to add 1% reliability, that's not too bad, so that we can go down the rest of this tree. Although that's a reliability tree, so it's not such a big deal. But we can get 3% performance in only 5 weeks. And obviously we are getting to that point where it's near the end of the season, whereas if I probably wanted to do a 20% experience gain, I'd probably do that sort of right at the end, and then there's a lot of weeks at the end to get that. So I think we'll go for this one then. So 3% performance during qualifying, so we'll have that in 5 weeks. I do want to go for this 12 week though, the Motocross and Superbike training, that's for sure. So that's the Moto3 riders, and we've actually spent quite a bit of time on that, a bit more than we usually do, but I just wanted to have a look at that because I think when we actually hired the riders, I had a mod on that made it so I couldn't really see their stats and stuff very well, and I've not even looked at them the whole season. So we'll quickly have a look at the championship then. So obviously then, in the last race, we actually had a very, very dominant performance at Silverstone, pulled away quite easily from the two Yamahas, actually it was. Marc Marquez was quite far down the order, which has allowed us to extend our lead to 108 points. But Quartararo and Vinales, they're definitely in the running for that second position now with a really good performance at the previous race. Misano should be another one that suits the Yamaha, so it will be interesting to see how those two get on. In the Teams Championship, Ducati had an absolute travesty at Silverstone. Dovi was right near the back, Miller was right near the back. I think one of them was actually outside the points and the other one was only just in it, which has actually extended the gaps quite a bit between these now. Yamaha got both bikes on the podium. The Repsol Honda team struggled quite a bit as well, so they've now actually got 20 points over Repsol Honda, and Repsol Honda got 6 points ahead of the mission winner Ducati team. So the gap's starting to get a little bit bigger between those guys again. But Yamaha actually starting to kind of eke away from the others. They have been on form as of late, and as you can see, their 2 riders are 3rd and 4th in the championship. They are definitely coming along strong now. And in the Constructors Championship, not quite the same story, but Yamaha obviously getting a really good result once again. They're only 2 points behind Honda now, and they are actually, well, they moved ahead of Ducati, but also pulled 15 points clear of them in one race. That is a massive margin. I think they might have been tied, so they gained 15 points on them. So yeah, I think Miller got 15th, and I think Dovi was outside the points, if I remember that correctly. Actually, that doesn't quite add up, does it? Because they got 20 points because they got second. So yeah, Ducati must have scored probably about 5 points then-ish. Or they might have been behind, actually, I don't remember. But I thought they were tied on points at one point. But either way, Yamaha are on the way up the Constructors Championship. They're only 2 points back of Repsol Honda now. So then, with nothing else to do, we'll head into qualifying 1 here at San Marino, and I'm hoping it's dry, because if it is, we should have very good pace here. So then, here we are at Misano for qualifying 1. It looks like it's very, very warm at the minute, so I think a medium tyre is a must here, because Misano is one of those tracks where the tyres get extremely, extremely hot, just like Mugello, really. I suppose it's because they're both in Italy, that would be why. So we'll have a look who's in this session with us then. So Miguel Oliveira, Brad Binder, Danilo Petrucci, Iker Lecuona, Takaki Nakagami, Francesco Bagnaia, Aleix Espargaro, Kyle Crutchlow, Jorge Martin, Joan Zarco, Alex Marquez, and Tito Rabat, and of course myself as well. So here we are in the pits then. Let's put on that medium rear tyre and head I've just put on another soft. I don't even know what I'm doing here. There we go, soft medium. We've finally got the right tyre compounds on. So we'll head out onto the track now then, and hopefully we'll be quick right away. So into this last corner then. It's been a few days since I've actually played career mode. As you probably noticed, I've not uploaded it for a few days. I've just wanted to do some different things. Obviously we played a bit of Superbike games, we played with the Superbike mod as well. We also did the 178 rider experiment. If you haven't seen that, I do recommend you go check that out. That's probably something you've waited for, so if you haven't seen that, then it's out anyway. I know a lot of people really wanted to see that, but Nakagami is in front of us now. So I'm hoping he doesn't hold me up too much. We're going to have to try and attack him though. Oh, the bike wheeling. Of course, we haven't actually upgraded the anti-wheelie the whole year again. We're 2,000ths away in that first sector, which isn't too bad considering how we almost went over twice. But in the slipstream, here we go. Past Nakagami, hitting the brakes. An easy move, up, well, I was going to say up into and then a position, but then I realised it's qualifying. So we've got him out of the way now then. We'll probably lose a bit of time in this sector still because we did also wheelie at the end. No, actually nearly 4/10 underneath now as we go through Tremonto. Now this is a sector where you can gain some time on the AR. 1.8 laps of fuel already, so quite a thirsty circuit this one. So as we go into Curvona, you lift and then get back on the power in the middle. I used to try and hold it flat through and then you offload the front end. It's just really easy to fold the front, but it's actually easier if you go to the outside then lift on the way in. We're now 6/10 underneath the time, so I think actually this first lap should be good enough to get us straight through. Usually is if you're a good 6/10 underneath the time. Through 15 then, right to the edge of the curb, down towards Misano corner, hitting the brakes. The bike still not feeling too great because actually both the tyres are quite warm. I think a medium hard would be the right compound for the race. So over the line then. 31.4, that's by no means the best lap in the world, but it's not bad. Hopefully that's good enough to go through. We'll head back to the pits, and let's see. So then, yes, that was good enough to go straight through. 6/10, nearly 7/10 underneath the time, and that's with those big wheelies in the first sector, so there's still some more time to find, although in my defence, the lap was actually quite well ridden other than those. Nakagami not getting in our way too much there. So we go through with Brad Binder, sort of the usual suspects in the same sort of positions. Alex Marquez at the back of the grid. I nearly called him Aleix again. I think I did that in one of the previous ones. I'm not really sure why I keep doing that, but anyway. We'll head into qualifying 2 now, and I'm hoping that should be just one lap for pole position. It looks like we've got the pace here. I think we are going to absolutely dominate this race. So here we are then in qualifying 2. And to be honest, I think I'm just going to go out on the same tyres. There's no point changing the tyres. They literally only did one lap. So we'll head out onto the track then, and let's see if we've got the pace to get pole position. We should do, getting through that easily on the first lap. I'm not even up to speed with the game yet, so we'll find even more time. I think you can get in I think I can get in the 30s probably. I think I've done that before. I can't remember what sort of times I did last season, but at this point of the season last time the bike was actually fairly decent. So we hit the brakes then for the first corner. So out of Misano corner then, this is going to be pole position again by an easy margin. Over the line, what's it going to be? 31.2, 6/10 underneath Maverick Vinales' time. That should be pole position then, should I say. So we'll head back to the pits, and I'm hoping that will be pole. So then, yes, it was pole position as I expected then, ahead of Marc Marquez and Polo Espargaro. So the two Hondas going very well here. So actually maybe the Honda is quite a good bike around this circuit as well. Valentino Rossi popping up to 4th right at the end of the session actually. Obviously got some home form here ahead of Jack Miller, Maverick Vinales, Fabio Quartararo and Andrea Dovizioso. Mir down in 9th, Rins down in 10th, Binder 11th and Morbidelli in 12th. But only 8 tenths separating myself to 12th place, and only 4 tenths actually separating the rest of the pack from each other. So quite a close pack. It'll be interesting to see how the Yamahas actually get on in the race, but of course they will want to try and gain some more positions, because 6th and 7th, it's fairly decent, but it's not quite what they want, so I'm guessing they'll be getting up the order trying to get to the two Hondas. But the next thing to do now then is to head into our Moto3 race. I think this is the fastest we've ever got to it. Obviously, I did do a little bit more intro than I normally do, but for me, 2 laps and I'm in there. That's quite fast, so let's see how Daisy Jackson and Manuel Hernandez got on in qualifying, and let's see how they get on in the race. So Daisy Jackson then at 10th place, and Manuel Hernandez 13th, so he's just 1 position outside of that objective. But I think this is definitely showing that, obviously we're looking at the stats earlier on, both the riders are getting better, and the bike itself, of course, is getting better as well. They're getting much more comfortable with Moto3. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do for the next season yet with the Moto2 team and things like that. I have seen that Daisy Jackson is absolutely amazing in Moto2, so I'm definitely moving her up to Moto2, but I've seen that I've been told that Hernandez is also very good in Moto2, so I don't know whether to move them both up or leave Hernandez in here for another season and try and go for the title next year with him. I'm not really 100% sure on what to do, but we'll start this race now anyway. Still quite a while till the next season, so they've still got plenty of growth to do. So let's get this race started, and I'm hoping they can both get in that top 10. So John McPhee actually on pole position, which isn't good for our riders, but waiting for the lights to go out, lights out, and away we go. Off the line then. A good start from Jackson, an even better start I think from Hernandez, a little bit further behind there. As they go down towards the first corner, she's up to 8th place already. Hernandez looking for an outside move to go through the first couple of corners. Finati and Lopez again still near the front. Of course, I'm still using the older patch for the performance in this mod because of the 2021 mod in the career mode in the MotoGP class. But down towards Rio then, Jackson's lost a couple of positions. She's looking for a move around the outside of Lopez. Can she pull it off? She can't quite do it seems, but she's in front of Arenas now. She's up to 9th place, she's on the inside. Oh, there's been a crash! McPhee's down! McPhee's down, I think he saw Lopez with him. That is massive for our championship against the Petronas boys, and obviously we're actually fighting really with the Snipers team as well, so it's important that Jackson gets in front of Arbolino here, and she's done it up into 7th place, and Hernandez is right behind her. Is he going to follow her through past Arbolino? I'm getting all over the place here, so much stuff happening on this first lap, but McPhee, massive high side, taking out Alonso Lopez. So lucky for Daisy Jackson to not be involved in that crash as they come out of Tremonto then, down the straight towards the fast Curvone. Masia leads at a Foggia in 2nd, Vietti 3rd, Suzuki 4th, no sorry, it's Antonelli 4th, Suzuki 5th, and then it's Mino in 6th, then it's Daisy Jackson in 7th, I think Hernandez just went underneath Arbolino through Curvone in the background there, unbelievable from Manuel Hernandez, that is some commitment, but a great start for both riders, 7th and 8th on this first lap. Can they climb further up this order? Here we go, Suzuki and Mino side by side as they go towards the final turn. Can Mino get in front of Suzuki? Can Suzuki hold off the position? Mino's going for the outside through Misano corner. He's got the run. That's Sky VR46 experience here at Misano, definitely helping him out. Obviously, they do a lot of training here, don't they? Those guys. Up the inside goes Mino past Suzuki. So that leaves Suzuki, the rider, in front of Jackson. Now, Suzuki's still trying to stick it up the inside, but he can't quite do it. So Jackson, a little bit wide there for Daisy Jackson. But the next rider for her to catch up to is Tatsuki Suzuki. Can she try and get past him? And can Hernandez stay ahead of Arbolino? So through the penultimate turn then now towards the end of the second lap, it looks like Hernandez is actually closing up to the back of Jackson. They've stretched away from Arbolino, which is good. So they're both in front of both of the Snipers bikes, which would be fantastic for us in the point standings. And of course we'll gain even more on the Petronas boys with McPhee crashing out there. But Suzuki, they're not really reeling Suzuki in, so I'm hoping that Jackson can try and pick up this pace and catch up to him. If not, Hernandez needs to try and get past her and try and do it himself. So as we come out the last quarter then to complete half of this race, still the same order really, although Mino's closing right to the back of Antonelli now, so there's some battling going on up ahead that definitely could favour our riders. But I think, to be fair, there's not much happened, but I think this is the first race where our riders have shown they've got the pace of the leaders. They've qualified quite near them, they've got away with them at the front. They're not right behind them, but they're pulling away the leaders, they're pulling away from the pack behind. So I am quite pleased with the performance of both riders in this race, even though it's not going to be a best result or anything like that. They have really shown good pace so far in this race, and I hope that does continue for the last few laps of it. Although whilst I was rambling, it does look like Jackson's now getting away a little bit from Manuel Hernandez. If we swap to Manuel, he's actually in slightly better condition with his front tyre. He's looked after it a little bit better than Jackson has. Jackson's has got a lot of heat on it, although the wear is very similar. But the heat is the problem, really. The wear isn't so bad. Well, it is, but the heat is the worst part, I find. I mean, even a fresh tyre when overheated is very, very poor in terms of grip. So Jackson will need to watch out for that front tyre, but I'm sure she'll be alright. So at the start of the penultimate lap then, Jackson has well and truly got away from Hernandez. Now Hernandez is no threat to her anymore, and as long as he doesn't slip too far back, that's not a problem. But she's actually catching up to the back of Suzuki, who is actually caught up to the back of Marino, who is obviously on the back of Antonelli. So Antonelli seems to be holding up the two riders in front. So can Jackson try and catch them up and maybe make some moves? She'll have to definitely pick up the pace a little bit because she's not got much time left. But the tyres are actually looking in really good condition. I know I've been saying that they're overheated, which they are, but the wear, there's very little wear considering we're on the penultimate lap, so fair play to Daisy Jackson. So then, towards the final corner, about to start the final lap, Jackson is right on the back of these guys now, so this is a fight for, well, will it be third place? No, not third place, sorry, it will be fourth place, this fight then. I don't know if Jackson will to get past all of them, but it'll be interesting to see if she can get past Suzuki at least. Hernandez is dropping back, is that now Finati behind him? I'm not too sure. But as long as he can try and keep in front of Finati, that would be good to try and bring home this 8th place. I think he should be able to do that, but Finati does look like he's got some good late race pace, it must be said. Down the straight then towards Caro. No, the next corner's not Caro, is it? Caro's a bit further on. I can't even remember the name of this corner, but she's looking at the inside. She can't quite pull it off there. She's not managed to do it. Will she be able to do it into the double right-handers? I don't think so. So maybe she'll have to try and do what Hernandez did on the first lap to Arbolino through Carbone. That would be a scary move to have to pull off on the last lap, but it would really show some bravery, and it definitely would show that she's worth a Moto2 promotion. Hernandez has now got Finati all over the back of him, so he has really got to watch out for Romano here. I'm trying to watch both fights at the same time, so through Carbone then, obviously she's not close enough to pull it off there. Fair enough. If she can't get past them, I can't be too mad, but if she could try and eke out that 6th place, that would be fantastic. It'd really show that she's picked up the pace in the latter half of the season. They're doing much better. Both riders obviously are doing a lot better than they were at the start of the season, but Jackson, if she can try and get this 6th place right at the flag. Finati unfortunately has got in front of Hernandez now, so Hernandez down into 9th place, which is a shame. He was running so strong for most of the race, but he just seems to have run out of tyre through the final turn. Then Jackson is going to come home in 7th place. Masia does the fastest lap on the final lap. Finati is going to come home in 8th, unfortunately, ahead of Hernandez. So Jackson then in 7th place, and Hernandez comes home in 9th. All things considered, not a bad result. Obviously, Jackson starting in 10th place, getting up to 7th. Pretty good ride. 13th to 9th for Hernandez, also a very good ride. He was running 8th for most of the race, but of course, Finati got him right at the end. It'll be interesting to see, did McPhee get back on? I didn't see him again in the race. I'm guessing he was out. No, Lopez was out. McPhee got back up into 26th, but yeah, he didn't really get much further up the order, but Lopez actually got completely wiped out by that. Masia then ahead of his teammate Foggia with Vietti in 3rd. So if we have a look at the championship standings then now, he extends his lead to 18 points ahead of Antonelli, 26 ahead of Suzuki. Foggia still sat there in 4th. But we're having a look at this championship standings. Obviously, Filip Salac actually moved back ahead of Rodrigo, and they're both pulling away a lot from Rodrigo and Salac, so that is good. 79 points for Jackson now. She is 22 points in front of Manuel Hernandez, so she is stretching away from him a little bit, and she's not too far behind John McPhee now. I think I said that it would be a bit of a push for her to catch up to McPhee, but with McPhee not scoring in that one, that's definitely helped out, and she's gained quite a few points on McPhee now. She's only 16 points behind him. It's possible that she could catch him up, definitely. There's plenty of time to go in the race, season left. There is 6 races to go, isn't there? So that is an attainable gap, so it'll be interesting to keep his eye on that and see how that progresses. In the Teams Championship then, we are now miles in front of Petronas Sprinter Racing, 30 points ahead of them. I think it's safe to say, I mean, I don't think it's safe to say that we've beaten them already, but I think it's fair to say that we are pulling away from them and they're not so much of a threat anymore. So I think we can definitely put all of our attention on the Snipers team now. So 153 points they've got, we've got 136, 17 more points they have got than us then. Some quick mental maths there. I haven't been able to do quite a bit of that with the championship. But it's actually interesting to look. I always keep my eye on my team, but actually 10 points now separate the Leopard and 658 Squadra Course team. So it is getting close in this championship. Foggia being a little bit better as of late is definitely helping that team out, and it's going to be close between those two. for the championship. 10 points in a Constructors in a team's fight is basically nothing, really, because you can have such big swings in a team's championship. So definitely keep your eyes on that. And we are close up to the Snipers team. I'm hoping we can get that 5th place in the team's championship. That would be great. So then I accidentally pressed A at the end of that screen, so I didn't get to do a little bit of a segue into the MotoGP race. But here we are then for the MotoGP race. Let's head down to the grid. So then we're down here on the grid. Marc Marquez then in 2nd position on the grid. Obviously we're on pole. His teammate Pol Espargaro in 3rd position on the grid. The 2 Hondas then looking very strong at this race. Where did Dovizioso qualify? I can't remember, was it? It was actually a bit further down than expected. I think Miller was the top Ducati, wasn't he? There's Morbidelli in 12th. His teammate Rossi was 4th, so it'll be interesting to see what Rossi can do off the line. Obviously, his home track, he lives very, very close to this circuit, so the home fans will definitely be cheering on Valentino Rossi. But let's get this race started then. Let's see if we can pull away in this race again. I'm hoping for the insanement factor that I can't, but for ease factor for the race, yeah, for me that would be quite nice.
All the riders have taken their places on the starting grid. Riders are deep in concentration with just a few seconds to go until this San Marino Grand Prix begins.
So yeah, Miller's actually in 5th place, then Vinales in 6th there, so looking at that. We are on the medium tyre on the front, hard on the rear, so it might take a while for them to get up to temperature, but waiting for the lights to go out, lights out, and away we go, off the line. Marquez has already pulled ahead of us. As we go down towards the first corner, we're 3rd place apparently, but we might be able to get back around the outside of Pol Espargaro. Yes, we have. So we're up into 2nd position once again. I don't know what I've done through there. That was a weird corner. Rossi looking on the inside. So Rossi has actually got past Pol himself as well. And here we got the inside of Marquez. Marquez has taken a terrible line through that sequence of corners and allowed me to take the lead straight back from him. So it's a little bit like in Austria where he got the lead down towards the first corner, although he did actually blast past me on the straight again. I struggle to say things sometimes, I don't know what it is, but we've got a fairly decent lead over Marc Marquez, 0.3 of a second then already in that first sector, so we hit the brakes for this left-hander. Quercia, that's the name of the corner, I completely forgot it in the Moto3 race, and called it, I think I called it Tremonto, or no, I called it Cara, that's it. But we've got a massive lead then as we come down towards Tremonto, speaking of that corner. 1.1 seconds already, so that is the sector where you gain so much time. Sector 2, the AI is so slow through there, but not too great through this next section either. Looks like Quartararo is really struggling, he's just lost a place to Rins and is now down into 10th place. He definitely doesn't want that when he's trying to take an assault on 2nd in the championship, that's for sure. So we go through turn 12 then, we ran wide here last year after we got past Marc Marquez, but I feel like that's not going to happen this time. The tyres are still quite cold at this point, but that was the point of choosing these tyres, was so they wouldn't get too hot. 1.1 seconds, so not any time gained through that sector, but I took it fairly steadily. You don't need to go too aggressively through that section. Through Misano corner then, right to the curb on the outside. Let's see what this time is going to be at the end of this first lap then. 36.9. What's the gap going to be? 1.7 already. Let's see if we can extend that. Rossi is up to 3rd place ahead of Espargaro as well. So coming up towards the line then at the end of the second lap of this race, 30.8. So that's my fastest lap of the weekend already on the second lap. 3.6 seconds in the lead. We are checking out already. So another fastest lap of the race then on that lap. 1 minute 30.4. What is the gap now in front of Marc Marquez? It should be absolutely huge. 7 seconds. We've not even done half race distance yet. Another fastest lap, 30.2 on that lap, so even quicker than we've gone before. We're close to the 29, so if I get a 29 here, I'd be very, very impressed, but I don't think that's going to happen. I can't see myself finding 3/10 when we're actually running out of fuel, apparently. I need to watch the fuel. So as we come out the last corner then, about to start the penultimate lap of the race, 30.6, so again, another fairly decent lap there. We have saved quite a bit of fuel now, so hopefully we should be okay in terms of the fuel. We've got 3 laps of fuel left if we stay in power mode 0, which I think I will. But Miller has just overtaken Dovi apparently then for 5th place. I didn't even realise they were in a fight. Dovi goes back in front of him, so it'll be interesting to see which one of the 2 Ducatis actually comes out on top in that battle. Oh, Vinales has now got involved because he's overtaken Miller as well, so yeah, a bit of a scrap going on a bit further back. So we're about to start the final lap then, 14.5 seconds in front of Marc Marquez, so we should be able to get this over 15 seconds, which I think would be another new winning record. I think you usually set them at this circuit though every year. I think my biggest win in Moto3 was at this circuit. I think my biggest win in Moto2 was probably at this circuit as well. Well, my biggest win at MotoGP is not at this circuit currently because this season on this Suzuki we have been dominant. So much better than the Tech 3 KTM, of course. So when we've been able to put the laps together in qualifying, put the bike on pole quite a bit more like we did in Moto2 and Moto3 actually, and we've been able to bolt away in a lot of races. Although we have also fought our way through in quite a few of them, obviously Le Mans and Also, Austin and Sachsenring, those are obviously quite good examples of me fighting my way through the pack, obviously having to start further back, or in case of Austin, starting at the front actually and getting involved in a pile-up. We almost came out to win that race. It was unfortunate we didn't quite do it, but there you go. Although there has also been tracks that we've been miles off the pace, such as the Kimi-ring and Brno. It's just weird, one of those things where the AI are ridiculous at those tracks and they're ridiculous in the wet as well, which makes it very difficult to actually come out on top if you get a wet race at the Kimi-ring or a wet race at Brno, which we have had. We've had rain at both in both seasons. Obviously, we had a dry race in the Kimi-ring in the first season, but the qualifying was wet. But anyway, we come into the last corner then, Misano corner, run a little bit wide, coming up towards the line then, 16.2 seconds in front of Marc Marquez, over the line, 31.0 on that final lap. Let's see how far we're in front of him. So then, in the end, we win by 15.1 seconds in front of Marc Marquez, so it takes that little bit of the lead away from you. But we did it, we absolutely dominated, a new record, 30.2 as well, being our fastest lap of the race. So, over a second, well actually not quite a second quicker than what some of the riders have done, but others, such as Marquez, that's over a second quicker than what he did on his fastest lap. Marquez, to be fair to him, had a fantastic race himself because he's pulled 4 seconds ahead of Valentino Rossi, who has actually managed to keep Pol Espargaro behind him the entire race. And I think that does highlight a problem that AI just can't pass each other. It is a bit of an issue. You see a little bit occasionally there's battling. Of course, obviously Dovizioso caught up to Miller. We did see that with a couple of laps to go. And he got past Miller. Then Vinales also did it. And it seems like Quartararo did it as well. So Quartararo struggled at the start, but actually managed to have a fairly decent comeback. And the two Yamahas actually finished where they started. And Dovi and Miller have just swapped. Rossi actually gained a position. But there hasn't been too much, and that was on the first lap when Rossi gained his position, and Espargaro's had the whole race to try and get back past him, and just hasn't been able to do so. So we have a look at the championship standings now to see how that's affected things. Rossi and Dovizioso now jump ahead of Rins, and they're actually tied on points. So Rossi actually been doing a great job on the Petronas Yamaha. His position isn't much better in the championship, but his points certainly are better than they were last year on the factory Yamaha, I think. Andrea Dovizioso then obviously moving up to 6th, like we said. They're 10 points back of Jack Miller. Marquez pulling quite far away from Quartararo again. Quartararo only now 8 points in front of Vinales, so watch out for the Yamaha's inter-team battle, and they are only a few points ahead of Miller, although they would have both extended that because Miller was behind both of them by the flag. We've now got a 113-point lead, which is an absolutely massive lead to have in the championship. If we have a look at the further down, Martin has moved ahead of Oliveira in the championship as well. Martin has been doing very well as of late. Aleix Espargaro is still the only rider yet to score a point. In the Teams Championship then, Repsol Honda now only 6 points behind the Monster Energy Yamaha team. Of course, both of their bikes beating both the Yamahas. They're going to catch up a bit, but Ducati really are dropping away from the others. They're now 20 points back of Repsol Honda on their own. And Repsol Honda, obviously, like I said, only 6 points behind Yamaha. So I think the gap between Yamaha and Ducati has stayed about the same, to be fair there. And if we have a look at the Constructors Championship, nothing is going to have changed. No, 6 points between Honda and Yamaha now. I don't know how many there was before. I know I read it out earlier in the episode. It wasn't that many. So they are still quite close. But they are, again, 20 points ahead of Ducati. So Ducati, in both championships, started to drop away a little bit. They were right up there earlier on. And Dovi and Miller have got a similar amount of points. So it's obviously just the bike has not really been up to scratch this season. So we'll head back to the Career Hub then now, see what we've gained from this weekend. It should be quite a good one because we've had an excellent weekend and they did in Moto3 as well. So then that weekend, once again we gained 19,700 reputation points from our MotoGP race. The maximum from qualifying, the maximum from the race, which brings us up to 660,500 reputation points. And once again, I do love to see that salary, the 112,506 credit salary. Obviously 40,000 from both the Moto3 riders, 31,000 from myself, which brings us up to 1,185,375 credits. Once again, on the prestige front, doing pretty decently there. So once again, Jackson gets us in that top 4 rows. So we get 39 points for that 10th position on the grid, 155 for the 7th in the race, 135 for Hernandez's 9th position. So we get 329 total there. So we move, I think we're past halfway though. It's kind of hard to see on that bar, but we're definitely past halfway, I think, now. And on the research data, we've got 350 research data. So once again, not getting too much from them. So I think that's an area they could definitely work on the development because we don't get too much research data per weekend. So then let's check out the junior team. There is a couple of things to do then on the team development, on the finances and the R&D. So on the R&D, there is only one section left to do, which adds 2% reliability, because the team collect more data on tracks. That's what we've got to do then. That's the R&D maxed out then now on the Moto3 team. I don't know if it resets at the end of the season or whatever, or if we can put more. And now there is obviously 5 things left to do on the finances. So the only things we can actually do are the prestige gains. So I think if we want the most prestige gain, we've probably got to go for... Well, we have to do this one, or one of... We have to do this one or this one, because they're both at the... Well, they're not the top of both trees. This one's the top of this tree. This one's the second one in this tree, but you can't do it before we get to this one. So we've got to do one of these. I think we should go for the plus 2% because it is quicker to get, and then we can go for the 4% afterwards. Obviously, at the start of the episode, we started this one here, so we've still got to wait quite a few weeks for that. But that's all the team development maxed out. Then we'll have a look at this section. Can we actually upgrade anything else? No, we've got 812 research data, and we need 2,000 to do any more upgrades, so we can't do anything on that front then at all. So then that pretty much brings the episode to a close. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that one. Obviously, once again, in my race, it wasn't the most interesting, and neither in Moto3. It's just one of those things, it keeps kind of happening where they just have epic starts. They're qualifying pretty well now as well, so it's not like they have to overtake people lap on lap. They get through the bulk of the traffic on the first lap, sort of. They always seem to be a little bit quicker in the race than in qualifying. So they get past some of the slower riders on the first lap. Obviously, it helped how McPhee took out Lopez, that's for sure. Obviously, the only other things that happened was Jackson caught right up to the pack in front of her, but she couldn't make a move on any of them, but you know, that's just kind of how it goes. And obviously, Fenati managed to catch up to Hernandez and overtake him. And then in my race, I did not see anybody after Marquez went a bit wide through turn, is it 3? I think it's turn 3 technically, that right-hander. I don't know what he was really doing, because he'd actually got the whole shot. He got through in the first corner, just because he got a better start than me. He flicked it over left, still in front of me. Obviously, Rossi had a look up the inside, but he couldn't quite get past me. And I thought, alright, I'm going to have to try and size him up, maybe down into Rio, which obviously is only one corner later. But no, he just ran really wide through that right-hander. I just cut underneath him, and that was it. I didn't see anybody else after that, and we pulled away. We won by 15 seconds. But that's it then. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.